All right, SILCA, friends and family, exciting launch today. Something new and pretty different for us. This is a product I have heard about and been asked about for 10 years. And it is the first ever SILCA shock pump. When we bought the brand, moved it to the States, started making pumps, everybody was, make a good shock pump, make a good shock pump. Like, I cannot make a good shock pump to compete with a $30, $40, $50 shock pump. It's really hard. And what is a good shock pump? And so, over the years, people have asked and asked and asked and given us thoughts and ideas. And we finally decided to give it a go and take all of this feedback that we've had from, our friends at like Push Industries and Cane Creek and Pro Race. So much feedback has gone into this. And honestly, we've been sent probably 100 broken shock pumps over the last 10 years to really look at and figure, why are they such crap and why do they break and how do you make it better? Because it's not always easy. There's no way I'm going to compete on price, but what really are the weaknesses of those products? So let's unbox this guy here, and you can see, I'll show you kind of what we've come up with. So there you go, SILCA Ultimate Shock Pump. I know it's not the most creative name we've ever come up with, but it does have a couple of features that make it super unique in this space, and also really allow it to, have the SILCA best-in-class warranty. It's ultimate product, so 7-year warranty across everything here and fully rebuildable. So I don't think anybody else has anything close to that. So let's dig in. All right, big points of failure, hoses on the ones that we've seen. These things go to 300 PSI. Almost all of them have rubber hoses. A lot of them, quite frankly, don't even have rubber hoses that have fiber or fabric liners in them. It's just straight rubber. Those things don't last very long, especially you put in a pack, it's going to get abraded. So this is a Kevlar reinforced rubber hose that is over braided with stainless steel. Like, nothing's going to take that guy down. This is a 2,000 plus PSI rated hose. But it is also just incredibly abrasion resistant. Full metal fittings, everything is sheathed actually in rubber. They're compression fittings, and so we use the rubber sheaths to take down, when you crimp, you sometimes get little edges that can be sharp, and that smooths everything down so those crimps aren't affecting anything in your pack if you choose to pack this. We have a lossless air chuck, and this I think is pretty unique in that it's stainless steel and aluminum combination. And if you use lossless chucks, essentially what you do is you open it up like this. You can see that pulls the Schrader core pin depressor back. You can thread it on like this, or I guess I can show it like this, probably show you the pump better. You can thread it on, spinning the whole thing like this, and then once it's in place, you can spin the red aluminum piece. You turn that down, that will depress the pin, open the pressure valve, allow you to pump to the pressure that you want, and then when you're done, you unscrew the red piece to pull the pin up. That will seal the fork or the shock, and then you can unscrew the stainless chuck. So that is a zero loss gauge, full metal construction, some really nice, robust, oversized X-ring seals in there. But again, the big one, hard stainless steel and not aluminum, and thread on, rather than some sort of, like crimp or compression fitting. I think, the other thing we saw with these and how they break is a lot of them use cast aluminum and a lot of them use a lot of plastic. So you can see there's no plastic in this guy. You've got this piece here is rubber to hold the hose, and it needs to be rubber for flexibility. Everything else is metal. Well, I guess this top guide bushing here is plastic, so that it's a self-lubricating carbon-filled plastic so that it glides smoothly. Everything else is full aluminum. And quite unique here, it's fully CNC'd from billet and not cast. A lot of the products in the market use castings, which you can generally tell they're not quite as pretty, or they have to be painted. CNCing it allows it to be quite a bit stronger. Those of you familiar with structural materials, castings are maybe a little bit more akin to like a cheese than a true structural material. So we're machining from billet. One of the things we see most commonly is that these pumps fail at the gauge because the design of the handle, or whatever you want to call it here, doesn't give sufficient room to hold it. I get you want to keep it small, especially if you're putting it in a pack, but we came up with this sort of 3-finger support here that when you are pumping, there is actually no load put into the gauge at all because of this oversized 3-finger support, and it really doesn't make it any bigger than any of the other pumps on the market. Again, fully CNC'd from billet. And then I think one of the coolest features that we came up with here is this guy that allows you to essentially view the gauge from any direction. I think we've all been there, depending on if it's the fork, left side, right side, your shock. Sometimes there's, depending on where the hose comes in, sometimes maybe it's easier to pump at the pump. Now you can see your pressure. If you're left-handed, now you can see your pressure. If you're right-handed, you can still see your pressure. So fully rotating gauge. And then one of the things that I think most exciting to me, because these things go to high pressure, if the gauge blows off or were to fail at the threads, it would shoot out and probably take your eye out. So one of the things that we see with these products is the gauges tend to not be replaceable because people have like red Loctited or some sort of like glue seal from the threads into the pump. By allowing it to rotate like this, and you can see at the bottom, we're actually using what's called a spool valve. It's a much more expensive way of making things, but you can think what's coming through here looks like a spool of thread. And you essentially have a hole in the side, O-rings top and bottom, and then the entire circumference of the center of that spool is exposed to the air pressure from the pumping. And that means there's actually no axial force at all on this, and it's held in place by this guy here. So it actually makes it super easy and quick to replace the gauge if the gauge were over time to drift. If it gets dropped, it gets cracked, something happens to it. It's you unscrew it here, pull this guy out, pop a new spool in, tighten it up. No glue, no crazy anything, so fully rebuildable. Other than that, I think we've paid pretty good attention to the ergonomics of the thing. I certainly think it looks good. You can see here, with castings you cannot anodize, so they have to be painted or you get that kind of like mottled gray look. These guys are actually tumble polished and anodized. I think it's kind of beautiful. And then we've got a nice full metal bleed valve here for bleeding, and full metal check valve inside the pump. You can't see it, but classic SILCA, it's all metal. Check valves are something that often breaks in these pumps. A lot of times they'll use like a rubber ball or a little rubber disc, and because you're pumping to such high pressures, the air gets very hot when it's compressed, and so that rubber will break down over time from that heat cycling. And so by using a metal check valve, essentially it's like a reed valve in there, actually allows us to have the thing not fail over time. Yeah, I think that's all there is to say. Oh, price. $125 US. I get it. That's more expensive than the $40, $50, $60 ones that are out there. I'm sure people will be in the comments. It's so expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. It's better. There's a lot of tech in it. A lot of design work went into it. It's rebuildable and replaceable. You guys told us that you wanted a better shock pump. Unfortunately, better cost money. But there you go, 125 bucks. I think it's a hell of a deal, and certainly more wallet and environmentally friendly than buying a new shock pump every year, as a lot of people I know have done for the last 10 years. Yeah, let me know what you think. Drop your comments below. Let us know your thoughts, and yeah, be sure to click like and subscribe. And we got some pretty fun stuff, not non-product content, some testing and some other content coming soon that I think you will enjoy. So yeah, there you go. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time.